For me personally, it is just a result of curiosity. What is out there, what is possible, and what is needed. It's about to stay relevant. So it's this can-do approach where we say, this is a company where people want to solve problems, rather than create problems.
So it's a kind of mindset.
It is. Openness is really important. This drives that collaboration. We even do this to the external world. If we do that, then we get approached by companies, by startups that haven't thought about us, and we haven't thought about them. There's a simple answer these days. If someone asks you what's the top topic, then it is AI. Two things come into my mind: be curious and be eager to learn about what is out there. And the second one is really try to understand the customer problem. What's the problem you want to solve? Don't get blinded by the technology or by your solutions. Don't fall in love with your product. So I'm Klaus. I'm the Vice President for Innovation and Trend Research for DHL Customer Solutions and Innovation. I acknowledge it's a long title.
Okay. So how are you working with just the trust issue? Because if you don't trust the company, you may not choose you.
100%. Okay. I do agree. There's a term in DHL where we say we want to be insanely customer-centric.
Okay, so that's a kind of your culture.
Correct. Oh. And I think one can feel that. So, building that trust is, I think, based on understanding the customer. So also where I'm based, in the DHL Innovation Centers, we have 4 centers around the world, in Germany, in Singapore, Dubai, and in Chicago. Just last year, we welcomed 12,000 visitors. It's not only customers, but customers, partners, and also colleagues. Right? 12,000. And it's this constant exchange we're having, and it's this mutual understanding. And by the way, it's not only us understanding the customers. We talk business-to-business relationships, but it's also the customers understanding us. So I'd say this is a core element.
That must be a challenge.
Yes, it is. But to be honest, that's a nice challenge to have, especially working in a B2B arena with these global companies. That's a nice challenge to have. I enjoy these conversations.
You're always smiling, I think.
Yeah.
You're a happy person.
I am a happy person, I think.
Yeah. Okay. How long have you been with DHL?
More than 15 years. 15 years. Much longer than I thought I would stay.
Okay. Where did you choose it?
Actually, they called me.
Okay. So you were a headhunter?
Yes. It was, and I was with a competitor before, but I never thought about going into logistics in my career. So that's at the beginning happened by accident. And then I kind of fall in love first with the industry and then with the company.
Okay. Is there anything in DHL that has made a huge impact on you?
Yeah, I think I'd list 2 things here. One is the culture. We touched that already. It's the customer centricity is one part. And it's this can-do approach where we say, this is a company where people want to solve problems, rather than create problems.
So it's a kind of mindset.
It is.
Problem solving instead of looking for guilt or something.
Yes, I would absolutely confirm that. And, you also have to keep in mind that we are in a service business. And, services happen quite often together with a customer, or at least quite close to the customer, right? So it's not like you cannot close the door and then hide. So that things need to be done and need to be solved. But also to your question, what made an impact? The other part, I guess, like for many others in businesses, leaders made a big difference, right? And this is, obviously with 15 years with DHL, linked to leaders that I met in this company, but also others. So it's about the people, not so much about the content for me.
Okay. What have the leaders given to you? What have you learned?
Trust. So we talked about trust towards the customer, right? But having trust in a leadership relationship, I think really important, and that freedom, to try things. And now I ended up in innovation, and especially there, you need that freedom to test and try and to fail as well.
Yeah, we're going to get to innovation. Let's take a quick look at innovation. What does it mean for you?
For me personally, it is just a result of curiosity. Being curious about what is out there, what is possible, and what is needed. But of course, for us as a company, it's about to stay relevant and to leverage whatever, especially in the technology area, to leverage whatever is available, and even better anticipate what will be available, right? And then it's, as I said before, it's testing that, it's trial and error. But what it also means for me is to be aware what is not possible yet. So not jumping on every hype that is out there. There's this Gartner hype cycle.
Okay, so you don't jump on every horse who's out there.
Yes, we try not to do that. Okay. And I would argue that as an innovation and trend research team, this is one of the value we can provide to our customers, but also to our colleagues, sometimes saying like, okay, guys, we looked at it, we tested it, it's not there yet.
Okay. There is a main expression, I don't know, I hope you know it, innovate or die. You recognize that?
Yes.
Yeah. What happens if you don't innovate?
Yeah, to the earlier point, right, we will not stay relevant anymore. And, I think there's two sides to that. And one is, innovating on the business models as well, stay relevant in the markets. That's one part. And then in operations and in particular also innovate to be more efficient. And there's a change that I do see in the last couple of years, being more efficient. That does not only mean that's all about cost and reducing costs, but you can also be CO2 efficient, for example. You can also bring more safety to the workplace, or even, with the new generations coming in, providing another employee experience. So there's different options there.
Okay, we're going to talk about the future in a while. Do you have an example from something that you innovated that also made a huge impact on you or the company?
Yeah, so the topic that is now being scaled and implemented big time in our operations is in robotics and automation. So this was an innovation topic like 5, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, where we saw the first robots coming into the market that fit our needs. We're not manufacturing. It's not it's not always doing the same thing.
We're not talking about the humanoid robots, or we're talking about what kind of robot?
So we're talking about goods-to-person robots. We're talking about picking robots, so robots that move things from A to B within a warehouse or within a hub. But you're right. This is one of the hype topics that I mentioned. Yeah, this is a bit of the flavor of the month.
Nice. How do you foster innovation culture in the company?
Openness is really important. So what we try also as a trend research team, what we are doing is we are quite radically sharing what we create in terms of research.
Are you sharing it in the company or
both
for the public?
Within the company, but
to the competitors too?
As well. And I know they appreciate that.
Yeah,
I'm sure. But that's all fine. So, our central tool is what we call the DHL Logistics Trend Radar, where we currently list the top 40 trends that we see for the industry. And yes, we are openly sharing that and sharing our views. So when you go to dhl.com or when you Google Logistics Trend Radar, you'll find that. And we do this because based on experience, we know that if we do that, then we can drive collaboration. We get approached by companies, by startups that haven't thought about us, and we haven't thought about them. So this openness drives that collaboration. And it's the same internal as well, but we even do this to the external world.
So you have a strategy that join together with, rather than being a solo person.
Yes, sir. Okay. No, clearly, yes. So maybe this is even textbook style in innovation. You can read about this, how important collaboration and partnerships are.
Yeah.
I think we're doing this.
How fast are you moving? Because some big companies can be standing and nothing is happening because it's a lot of paperwork or administration, things like that. Do you have a culture that you just can go ahead and try?
Yes, we do. Absolutely. In terms of speed, it depends a bit on the topic, but we have that culture, I would say. But we also have processes in place where, my team quite quickly can initiate a proof of concept with a supplier that is not listed and not going through the entire process. But of course, at one point, this also needs to happen. And I think one has to acknowledge a big company like ours, 600,000 people working here, we might be a bit slower than a smaller company. But I'm okay with the speed.
Okay. Do you pick up ideas or innovation ideas from all employees or just your division?
No, we try to collect it from everywhere.
You were talking about openness.
Yes. So we have an idea management system in place as well. I think there's as many other companies do have. But I want to mention again our innovation centers, where we foster that exchange. And I think in the meantime, most people in the organization know, if they have an idea, where to go.
Is there a particular trend in innovation that you can see right now? Maybe AI, of course, but something else?
Yeah. Yes, of course it is AI. We see this picking up.
Going very fast. Everything is going very fast.
Absolutely, yes. But I think there's more to AI than what is being typically seen in the public. At this point, I think we are talking generative AI. Of course, it's ChatGPT and what is possible. And we're talking AI analytics, like the next level of big data. there's more to that. So, for example, my team is trying to leverage AI in areas that are called computer vision. So we're using camera footage in our operations for safety, for process improvements, for shipments, identification. So there's more to that. But yes, of course, I mean, there's a simple answer these days. If someone asks you what's the top topic, then it is AI.
So the whole company is working with that too?
Yes, absolutely, yes. We have a dedicated team for the group that is only working on generative AI for internal purposes, a couple of thousand users on our own platform there. And I think it is fair to say that the whole company is on that.
Okay. If I say Internet of Things, what's your reflection?
Yeah. That sounds more like an old topic, right?
Okay.
But for us, it is still very, very current. So the point here is, I mean, the Internet of Things it is all about using sensors in different shapes and forms to generate data. And that's really important for us. I'm not so much worried about analyzing the data. There are smart people and systems out there that can do that, and we have that. But it's more for us with IoT generating the right data. So we have also here a dedicated team that is managing a portfolio of sensors. The most obvious application is, of course, tracking. You want to know where a shipment or an asset is, right? Of course.
Waiting for something.
Yeah, we all do, and big companies do as well.
Yeah.
So that's, of course, the big one. But with this portfolio, in the IoT sphere, there's more data we can generate. So we have sensors that track temperature, humidity, pressure, shock, light, gas, and so on and so forth. Not all in one, but for different use cases. And, I mean, we've seen this with the COVID vaccine distribution. This temperature control topic is very, very important.
Yeah. What happened during the COVID?
A lot.
Yeah, we all know.
Yeah, it was an interesting time. I think it was a time where we could prove as a company, but I would even say as an industry, that we can keep up the business wherever it was possible. And, it was actually us, and in all fairness, also our competitors, right, who delivered also during COVID. A tough time, but I think a proof point for us and for the industry that, we were resilient.
Are you back on track?
Absolutely, yes. It's one can discuss what are more the strategic consequences for our customers. And, I mentioned resilience in these topics, right, becoming more important. But the COVID crisis is over.
Yeah. If you talk a little bit about innovation, I think you love the innovation. Do you have any tip or something for a young person that is going around and thinking about an idea or something, maybe a startup or something, about the mindset? Because it can be very hard, can be struggling.
No, it can be. Absolutely, yes. I mean, two things come into my mind. One topic I already mentioned is curiosity. So, be curious and, be eager to learn about what is out there. And the second one is, and this is, of course, me coming also from a service business, really try to understand the customer problem. What's the problem you want to solve? Don't get blinded by the technology or by your solutions. Don't fall in love with your product, but rather fall in love with your customer. Right?
That's kind of common, falling in love in the product.
Yes.
Yeah. So you need a mindset where you can choose another path.
Yes, this is clearly geared towards the customer.
Okay. What's the future holding in the hand?
If I only knew, right? That's the big question, yeah. For us, I made reference to our logistics trend radar, where we try to describe that, identifying these trends. I think when we are currently developing the next version of the radar, it will be launched in September. Topics I see, we discussed AI. Anything that has to do with sustainability, for sure, will stay. Also because, not only our companies, but pretty much all of our customers have these zero emission targets by 2040 or 2050. So sustainability, no doubt. And the third one I would mention is, I think we will see more focus on people and employees.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's labor shortage out there. There's skill shortage out there, not only for our industry, but also. So I think we will talk more about employee experience, a journey of an employee. So, and I would hope actually for that. So these three areas, AI, sustainability, and people, that's going to be the big ones, I think.
Let's talk a little bit about the sustainability. So how are you working with it? It's a global crisis. So what's your main goal in 2, 3, 4, 5 years?
So we have a 2030 goal to reduce our CO2 footprint as a company significantly, I think down to 29 million tons. And we have a zero emission target for 2050. I think we were the first logistics to come up with something like that. As a consequence, when you look at our businesses and our CO2 footprint, the main area for us is aviation. 70% of our CO2 footprint comes from our airplanes. And that means if you look for one lever here, it's for sure sustainable aviation fuels. They are not there on the market yet. So as a consequence, investment is needed. We as a company are investing. We placed, I think, the biggest order of sustainable aviation fuels in the world last year. So a lot of investment is needed. That's the big things. Also electrification of our vehicles, the big ticket items. And there are many smaller items where we try to drive efficiency and basically reduce the CO2 footprint at the same time. That's the beauty, actually, quite often. It's not just you either reduce cost or you reduce the CO2 footprint. You can do both.
Is there something else in the future that you can see that is a main goal?
Yeah, maybe that's not that spectacular, but in our logistics operations, we still need to work on automizing our processes. You might have seen the YouTube videos with these dark warehouses with hundreds of robots running around, right? These are there. However, for the most part, logistics is a very manual and stressful business for our employees. So anything we can do to support our employees, adding automation to their work, not replacing, but adding and enhancing their work will stay top of mind. Again, it looks a bit like, this has been there for ages, but there's still a lot to gain in that area.
Okay. Klaus, it's nice to have you here. Do you have any closing thoughts or something that you specifically want to say?
Well, first, I appreciate the conversation. I very much like that. I want to emphasize once more, I think that came across right. For us, this collaboration topic in the innovation arena is really important. So we're very open, not open for business only, but I would say open for innovation as well. So anybody who is interested, feel free to reach out to me, and more than happy to discuss opportunities.
And that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Thank you for having me.
A pleasure.